Okay guys, I am back. Good morning, and I think I have finally caught up on everything that is now in this update. It's actually been probably about 45 minutes since I last said anything to you guys those few seconds ago. Because wow, at all the things that have been added. I guess first, my bed here. Apparently there's a new bug in, I guess 1.8 that hasn't been fixed in 1.8.1, is that sometimes when you place a bed, it can crash, but fortunately that didn't happen to me, so good times there. And second, if you'll recall, I gave up on finding a village. Well, turns out there's a very quick and easy way to find villages. At least a few villages, anyway. If you'll note, here's the seed. The seed, 76585. Pretty easy to remember. But even easier still is just remember L-O-L. And yes, that first L needs to be capitalized. So, let's go ahead and head on over here and check out the villages. They're actually pretty cool. Something I forgot to talk about before was glass panes. And that's kind of cool. I really do like the look of them. Gives things a really nice style to it almost. So over here we've got the pre-populated farms with the animals already screwing things up. Got the gravel paths connecting all the different areas. We have wells that, unless you are properly equipped, you will get stuck in forever, as I found out. Something else kind of obvious is that you'll notice the armor is now sitting above the health bar, given that the food meter is now in the old armor spot. So, let's see. This is apparently the smithy, the blacksmith's house. You can see the new iron bars, which are actually kind of cool looking. I'll show you how to craft all the new stuff later. I did finally look all that stuff up. Nothing in the furnaces, apparently, so that's kind of sad. But, let's see, let's go ahead and actually go ahead, if I can say it a few more times, and start crafting some of the new things that are in this game, or in this update. So I think first is those very what were they? Iron bars, yes. Pretty much just take 6 iron ingots and bam, you now have iron bars. Now I've never actually placed one of these, but I assume it's going to be very similar to fences. Ah, cool. And you can place them on top of each other. Nice. Come on. There we go. Cool. I like it. Should make for easier jail cell creations. Alright. I'm done with you. Next, we have fences, but more importantly, fence gates. So let's go ahead and whip up some fence. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and whip up some fences real quick. That should be plenty to get us started. So let's say, I guess put one here and put one here. I think that's enough gap between them. And now for the gate, it's similar. You start with these on the outside, but to make the actual gate, stick planks in between. And bam. And I assume, nice. They open up on both sides. That's pretty cool. And they actually do look pretty good. I know I saw a tweet way back that Jeb said he wasn't quite happy with them, but I think he did a pretty good job. Okay, so, let's see. Next, those wonderful glass panes. How do you make those? Exactly the same way you make the iron bars over here, but you use glass. And now, we have glass panes. Let's see, can we do this? What? I wonder if that was on purpose. Okay, that's just weird. if I close the gate? Nope. Alright then. Possibly a bug. Let's put one over here instead. Might be easier to show you. Maybe not. That's just weird. Alright. Well, let me show you with one of these that already exists. What's great about glass panes instead of the glass blocks is that when you destroy them, you actually get them back. You still don't get glass blocks back, but you do get glass panes back. Oh, and something that I just saw at the corner of my eye. You can now put wooden pressure plates on fences to create these really awesome tables now. That looks so much better than what we used to do, which I guess was just using the half slabs. This looks a lot more realistic. You don't get the giant looking tables. Although something I noticed is, well, let me get this out of my way. They don't make the pressure plate sound anymore when they're on the fences. But if you were to go away, take it and place it on the ground like normal, you get the sound again. So I think that's actually kind of nice because you really don't want your table clicking at you. Okay, once again, go away. Nice. That is so weird. Alright. And you, go away. Alright. Yeah. What else? We have some new blocks. You notice I have bricks. Well, apparently now we finally have brick slabs for those of you who have been strongly desiring those. I'm still not a huge fan of bricks, but that looks pretty good. It would probably make for some really cool looking, oh, I don't know, not necessarily outside furnace, but maybe like a backyard grill kind of thing. That this would be really kind of cool. Give you a step up and you can get at the grill, which maybe you make with a furnace or you make with some lava blocks and a sign or something. I don't know. Use your imagination. I'm sure you'll come up with some really cool things. In addition to the half slabs, like most other blocks that make half slabs, you can now also craft stairs. So if you wanted to, you could, I don't know, flank these with the stairs and create kind of an interesting look. I don't know. So we can do that, and I kind of like that. That's actually kind of a nice look. Okay. And next, stone, as you know, makes the old half blocks and makes the stone pressure plates, but I believe if you do this, no? There it is. This is how you craft the new stone bricks. And I gotta say, I really like the look of these things. These are really nice. Let me clear some space. Yeah, I like that. Ooh, not so crazy about that part, though. They certainly seem to take a long time to break, but then again, bricks always did. Now, you guys probably noticed from earlier that there are 2 other new brick blocks, but there are no real ways of crafting them or getting at them except possibly running across another new randomly generated area like these villages that I forgot about, and that was the strongholds. There's also mossy versions and cracked versions of this. There is, however, right now a way of getting access to them in sort of a hackish kind of way, and it involves knowing what direction you're facing. So, let's see. Check my notes to make sure I'm actually facing the right way when I do this. F3, I need to be facing this way. If you're facing east, I believe one is east, and you place this block, and then you break it, No. Or yes. No. Okay, I might have to look this up again. Apparently, if you face east and when you place the block and then break it, it's supposed to create the mossy bricks. Maybe he fixed that in 1.8.1. I don't know. Let me go catch a quick nap and I'll be right back. Okay, back once again. Again, I'm going to have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure it's if you place the stone bricks when you're facing F0, which I believe is west. So which says 1 would actually be not east. And you break them. You're supposed to get the cracked slabs, or the cracked brick blocks. But, I don't know. Again, maybe he fixed that, maybe he didn't, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I might look it up and show you guys at the end of this. But let's see, real quick, something else I noticed when I was looking up the iron gates is that if you happen to place pistons facing either way on them, is that they don't quite fill the gap. However, if you were to use, say, regular blocks, I believe, the gap's filled for you like this, so that's possibly a bug or just a difficulty of the way pistons work, especially when they extend and retract. Not really sure, just thought I would point that out to you guys. So, let's see, I think that about covers it for all the craftables. But we also have a lot of new foods. As you can see, here are the melons. You get these by planting melon seeds, growing melons, and then when you harvest them, the melons have a chance of dropping, I think it was 4 to 6 of these melon slices. And you eat them just as same as you eat anything else, and just kind of, guess you can't eat if you haven't used anything up, so let's sprint a little. Ah! Bam! That's also something else I forgot to mention earlier, was that when you're sprinting, you actually cause a nice big knockback on anything you end up hitting. Bam! Alright, so since we have all this nice farmland here, let's go ahead and give this a shot. Melon seeds, I believe. No, those are pumpkin seeds. Alright, melon seeds. Plant them just like you would any other seed. Or I guess the wheat seeds that were the only other things we had. Let me clear a little more room too. There we go. Pumpkin seeds. You can also plant just the same. But the difference between the wheat and the now new melon and pumpkin seeds is that these will end up growing into the typical melon and pumpkin vines, like you would see in the real world. They grow, they spread, and only once the vines have fully grown does the fruit start to actually grow. So it's a lot slower than wheat, so it's not a great source of food, pumpkins especially, because they aren't food. But you can grow pumpkins, who cares? So, still speaking of food, we've now got the raw and cooked chickens that obviously chickens drop. We have the rotten flesh that we noticed earlier. Let me go and bring some of this stuff down to my bar. We've got steak and raw beef. So cows now drop food, and you can cook it and create steak. We've of course got the raw pork chops like before, and now we also have cooked pork chops like we saw before. And what's great is now all of these stack. So you can finally take a stack of steak or cooked pork chops with you. At least, assuming I was reading the wiki correctly, and this isn't just a happy bug that showed up when I used invedit. So, as you saw before, you can eat any of these things, and I guess you guys have already noticed that steak now uses the old cooked pork chop texture. But, if you happen to eat a raw food, like say raw chicken, raw beef, or raw pork, as well as the rotten flesh. When it comes to everything, all those except the rotten flesh, you have a chance to be food poisoned, which ends up, I think, increasing the rate at which your health drops. But if you eat rotten flesh, as I understand, nom 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 nom, it's supposed to, yeah, okay, so it's your health meter your food meter that gets messed up, not your health meter. But you can see it's all turned yellow and it's all funky, and I believe if you start exerting yourself, it actually runs out much faster, and that's the sign of food poisoning. I'm not aware of any way to actually heal food poisoning, but maybe there is. Again, something I'd have to go and read the wiki on. I probably should have done a little more research, but figured it was important enough. Okay, that answers my question right there. It does heal itself after time. So let's have some chicken. Nom 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 nom. Mmm, chicken. So, what else am I forgetting? I'm pretty sure bread stacks. I'm not certain. Let me go ahead and drop one and we'll double check. That was not bread. Yep, bread stacks. Excellent. Turns out Invetted doesn't know that yet, so when you drag one into your inventory, it tries to give you only one. So, that's an interesting thing to find out. So, let's go ahead and drop a bunch of these. Make sure they all stack still, too. Yep. That is going to be awesome. Okay, so, Ender Pearls. I know I threw out a couple of potential things that they might do. Turns out currently they do nothing. Endermen do drop them, and you will occasionally find them in water, but that's apparently because Endermen wander around at night, fall in the water, and die. It's very sad. But hey, free Ender Pearls. Woohoo! Unfortunately, they are now the new slime balls. Let's see. I believe I've covered just about everything except leaf blocks. Leaf blocks now don't require being near logs if you're the one who placed them. So this is really far away from logs, but this will not decay or disappear and will actually just stay put, no matter what you do with them. I'm pretty sure if you break them, that doesn't change the rules either, because they've probably been flagged as user placed, so that's good. I believe... Let me check my inventory again real quick. Yep, I believe that is all for new items. There is something to note that is freaking awesome, and that is shift click is finally back. Now, you know, you can just right left craft real quick. You can single click, you can shift and click, you can shift and right click before, and it would automatically just send it to your inventory, at least after Notch removed it from 1.4. But now shift click finally does what it used to. Shift click fully crafts. I love that that is back. That was one of the most amazing things he added in 1.4, and I was sad to see it go. Now, one thing I am interested to know is what happens when you've got a situation like this. This makes a pressure plate. This makes a half block. Now, when you shift click, this is going to make the half block, but will it leave these two planks? Or will you end up with a half block, a wooden half block, and a wooden pressure plate? Let's find out. Ah, excellent. He did fix that. I believe the bug I just described was why he removed it from 1.4. So it's nice to see that's back, and it functions correctly. Alright, so I guess... Well, let me get rid of some of this stuff in my inventory, possibly take a nap, and I'll be back to help you guys understand all the other new things that have come out in this update. Okay, good morning once again. Now, I think as I do this, I'm going to try and wander around without walking into too many walls while I go down the list of all the things that I've found on the changelog that are worth noting and also are things that I didn't run into earlier in this episode. So, first off, we've got another new mob, silverfish. They appear in caves semi-randomly. As I understood the wiki page on them, they can spawn in stone blocks, but more specifically, they tend to spawn in stone-like blocks. It's, to get technical, block ID 97. It looks exactly like stone, smooth stone. And when you break it, the silverfish come out and they attack. And if you attack one, and there are other similar blocks, or there are other silverfish hiding in the area, I guess you can think that, I don't know if it actually does let out a noise, but pretend it lets out a noise to notify its friends nearby, and you can get swarmed. So one thing to note is that you have to be careful when you attack one. There are, however, ways of killing them that won't actually invoke the "oh shit, help me" reaction from the silverfish. And that's basically using the environment to kill them instead of you attacking them. So, like luring them into lava, dropping a lava bucket, dropping water, and getting them to drown. And apparently a quirky little bug is get them to crawl through a portal. Apparently walking through the swirly portal piece actually causes them to get stuck and or suffocate, so that's something to try out. Let's see. Speaking of mobs, the Endermen. Don't stare directly at them. I believe we all got that pretty well from the update video that, what was it, Hat Productions or whoever, the guys who make the update videos for Mojang now. But specifically, you can look at them, just don't let your crosshair fall on them. That's what constitutes looking at an Enderman. So if you're like this, pretend that sheep's the Enderman, you're fine. Like this, he gonna be pissed at you, so you better run. Something else, kind of to give you guys a little bit of help. If an Enderman's after you, and he starts teleporting, when he gets close enough, he's gonna be behind you, so watch your back. Also, I believe they do about 3.5 hearts of damage without armor, so they can be very deadly very quick. And again, keeping with the theme of new mobs, the cave spiders, there were a couple things I left out. Apparently they can poison you. So that's pretty dangerous. And the spawner I did run across in that abandoned mine shaft, whatever thing, I don't know, what's it called? It's on my list here somewhere. Abandoned mines, I guess that's just what they're called. Those cave spider spawners only appear as we saw them earlier, so watch out. Now, when it comes to the cave spiders poisoning you, it will start depleting your health, I believe up to 3 hearts at a time, on hard, if I recall correctly. However, if you are less than whatever number of hearts it is it's going to drop you away from death, it only drops you down to 1/2 heart, so poisoning doesn't kill, it just makes things really dangerous for you, and other mobs will come up and kick your ass real fast. One thing I'm not certain of is, do cave spiders only poison, or are they capable of damaging you as well? That's something to look up. Alright, so, let's see. I did cover the melons. Now, something else that I forgot was that when you do harvest your melons, you get the melon slices, but melons will also drop melon seeds if they are a full-grown melon. Now, pumpkins do not. A full-grown pumpkin will just drop a pumpkin. The only way to get pumpkin seeds is to find them in the abandoned mines in those chests like we saw again earlier. Let's see, moving down the list, all the craftables. Something that I forgot and that we didn't get to see, I'm kind of surprised with all my flying around, are ravines. Now, the ravines are specifically the underground ones, like Notch sent out a screenshot of, at least a month ago. However, ravines can also be generated above ground, and then they create really cool looking canyons. Something that would have been awesome to find as I was flying around. Let's see, 2 biomes that I forgot to mention. the river biome, which I find it kind of strange that rivers are a biome. I just kind of figured rivers would run through existing biomes. But, okay. And mountain biomes. I think we may have come across some, but can't be certain. There were some very tall-looking mountains, but I don't know if we were specifically in a mountain biome. But those are out there, and they'll probably be pretty obvious when you come across them. That's not my torch, by the way. These villages will randomly generate with light, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, I covered the knockback with sprinting. Something that I actually had meant to do a little more research into is that animals will not despawn. Once you see an animal, it's there forever until you kill it. What I wanted to look up was, once you kill it, does it empty the slot for passive mobs to spawn a new one? Or is it, once the mob spawns and you kill it, that's it? You get no more mobs in that chunk forever and ever. Hopefully it's the former, where it just frees up a slot for another one to spawn, and it's not the latter, where you better be very careful with your passive mobs from now on. Because that would definitely suck when it comes to, say, trying to get steak or bacon. Bacon. Alright. Oh, something that I found interesting is apparently this village spawned right above a very interesting cave. Haven't been down there, but maybe you guys can check it out. Alright, so let's see. Covered the raw food. Tall grass. This stuff here will now actually spread all on its own, so you don't have to go running around bone mealing the crap out of any new location you decide to settle if it doesn't happen to have grass on its own. Just let it be, spreads by itself. Yes. Something that I keep forgetting even exists. Achievements. It's apparently a new one now. There it is. Sniper Duel. Apparently what this means is you have to kill a skeleton from at least 50 meters away, which, that's definitely being a sniper. I mean, a meter is one of these blocks, so you have to be 50 blocks away and kill a skeleton. Now that might be a bit easier if it counts vertically, so just be way up on top of a mountain and just snipe the crap out of them. Oops. Let's see, moving on. Yes. Something I meant to craft earlier. Run over here real quick. Shears. Now work on tall grass. Okay, I didn't realize that's what it meant by tall grass. Cool. Tall grass is finally placeable. Sweet. There are none around, and I couldn't find the item in Invedit, but exact same thing with vines. Shears work on vines that I'm guessing make a droppable vine block that then make vines placeable. So that's cool. Mossy cobblestone has a new texture, which I assume means it looks very similar to the new cobblestone. It's got the new texture where a lot of the whites were replaced with light grays, so it's got a more muted tone to it. So it looks kind of cool. Yeah, you can see right here, this looks more light gray than white like it used to be, so it's not so jumping out in your face with brightness. Okay. This is a very long list, by the way. I think I tried to mention that earlier. Let's see. Player damage to mobs. Whenever you attack a mob, I'm guessing that goes for both passive and hostile. So, animals and the bad guys. All damage you cause to a mob is now decreased by half a heart. That thing literally just sucked right up to me. That's cool. So, this means that it might be a little more difficult to kill things, although I imagine if you run around with the diamond sword, that's not really an issue. And now that I just did this, that reminds me. The right and left mouse click, you can't just hold down the left mouse button and you just infinitely slash. You now have to click for each and every slash. And when it comes to placing blocks, you now place them a little bit slower. Instead of like 4 per second, I think it was, it's now 3 per second. So you can actually see it's a little bit slower. It's subtle. It was a very small change, but you can tell it is a bit slower. Okay, morning again. Some SMP changes, I guess, let's cover now. Creative mode is now part of SMP as well. It's now just a flag set per player on the server, so you could be on a survival server and still be running around in creative mode, which I think is actually kind of cool. The only issue is that when it comes to... Why is my armor damaged? Whatever. When it comes to creative mode, if you're not an op on the server, you're going to have to get an op's permission, and an op will actually have to grant you the creative mode flag through a command. Similar to like give. Give only works for ops, so setting creative mode only works for ops. But ops can, like, they can give you items, they can also grant you creative mode. Ghasts finally make noises in the nether in SMP, so instead of them just crying and making their creepy noises all the time, and then when they shoot at you, you don't know it until it blows up in your face. That's finally fixed, so that's great. Something for all you redstone fans out there. If someone uses the set time command, it will no longer break your redstone circuitry. That stuff's finally working again. Stop pushing. And let's see, what else? I think we're finally coming down to the end of the list. Okay, I think that really is just about it. There's only one last thing on my list that's... I probably should have covered earlier because, you know, you really shouldn't end off with kind of a downer, but snow is gone. All new 1.8 worlds, you will never find snow. From what I could understand, it apparently has to do with the new terrain generator that makes all this new awesome stuff. That there's apparently some difficulty in the taigas and the snow biomes, the winter biomes, that snow will no longer be generated. Any existing snow in previous worlds, previous to 1.8, the snow will still be there, because it was obviously already pre-generated, but you won't be able to find snow anymore. Under the understanding that snow will be back in 1.9, though, so if you guys are out looking ready to make a new ice fortress, you're going to have to hold off a little bit. And I think with that... just go ahead and wander through here real quick. Well, actually, there was one thing that I wanted to show you guys. A little bug that I found that maybe is an old one, but I found kind of funny. And let me take off my armor real quick so you can actually see this bug in action. I'm going to kill myself. But this is the bug. Alright, watch my bubbles. Slowly dripping down, running out of air. Starting to get worried. Oh no. Uh-oh. This is gonna hurt. Getting closer. Uh-oh. 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 That right there. Your skin disappears. And you fall sideways. And when you move the mouse around, he does this funky dance. Ooh. But when you come out of your inventory, you're back. And I think that just about covers it for the 1.8 update. This has probably been the longest update video I've ever done, but for good reason. Alright, my bed's here. I was like, why didn't I spawn out there? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this kind of answers any questions you guys may have had about 1.8. And covers basically everything. Like I said, anything I didn't cover just now is because we ran across it and you either visually saw it or I actually commented on it when I was exploring around for myself. So, once again, hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Nocturne, and I will see you guys again in the next update video.